It's time we give back. Sow a seed and show someone where love's at. Even if you don't give a dime, give your heart and share your time. Help somebody else in life. Give back. Let's give back.
Welcome to this episode of Ignite, Empower, Transform, where we showcase urban superheroes here in the Bronx and around the world. I am your host, Hosea James Gavan II. Today's special guest is from Ottawa, Canada, by way of Kenya, and she has created an amazing organization called SPA, Save and Protect African Women. Let's hear from our special guest, Martha of SPA.
She was a mother, a sister, a daughter. Her only crime was being a woman. Every day across Africa, women live in fear of violence, of being unseen, of being silenced. But we will not look away. We are SPORE, Save and Protect African Women. We believe that no woman should die simply for being a woman. We stand for justice. We stand for dignity. We stand for life. From grassroots communities in Kenya to the hearts of the diaspora in North America, we raise our voices, amplify her story, demand policy change, empower survivors, and build safe spaces. When one woman is lost, a future is stolen, a family is shattered, a community is wounded. It's time to reclaim hope. SPORE means action. SPORE means solidarity. SPORE means transformation. Together we will end femicide. Together we will protect her voice. Together we will reclaim her future.
Welcome to the show, Martha Karanja from Ottawa, Canada. She's going to talk to us about her organization, SPA, Save and Protect African Women. Thank you for joining us, Martha.
Thank you for having me, Hosea. SPA is Save and Protect the African Women. It's a non-for-profit organization founded in Ottawa, Canada. We are dedicated in fighting femicide and gender-based violence.
So when you say femicide, what exactly is femicide?
So femicide is killing of women by the opposite killing of women by the opposite sex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's unfortunately that's a. So let me interrupt if that's okay. So last year, November of 2024, I was here with two of my board members from the National Give Back to Kids campaign, and we were walking down the street, and we asked a group of a family to take pictures of us while we were here visiting Montreal, and we happened to meet Martha. And Martha, in the course of the first conversation that we had with her, she expressed to us that she wants to make a difference. That was one of the first things she told me.
Correct. I remember, and that was the birth of SPA. When I told you I want to make a difference, you told me that you pressed me to continue pursuing my purpose. And 2 weeks after, you called me and told me you read in the New York Times about femicide in Kenya and gender-based violence.
Right.
And you were so shocked about it because I told you about it, about my story, but that time it wasn't resonating to you as the way you saw it on the newspaper.
Right.
I had told you to invest in Kenya, but Hosea just told me I'm not going to go to Kenya or send my daughter in Kenya because of what is happening. And I told you, no, I think maybe we can do something, and that's why you told me, why don't you start a non-for-profit organization to support women who are being killed by the opposite gender.
So the fact that we are we're an organization that's involved with community service work. That's what we do. Not nearly on the level with the sense of urgency. You know, when I came across that article, the New York Times article, and it talked about what's happening to sisters, African women in your country, it just broke my heart. I mean, it really, it's hard for me to believe that was happening in these times. And you talked about wanting to make a difference, and you talked to, when the first conversation, you also said you wanted to help us get our message out into the world. And that's the other thing that made me want to stay connected, because we do want to have international impact wherever we can. But it seemed like us meeting you and then me coming across that New York Times article, it was just destiny, right?
Yeah, it was divinely connected.
Right,
it was.
right. So you got to work and you put together the nonprofit SPA. And see, you know, it's really important for North Americans to understand the significance and magnitude and how devastating femicide is in your country. We have no real true sense of that. It's not being, the media isn't capturing it in terms of getting it into the minds and hearts of Americans and North Americans here. So that's why I think what you're doing is critical.
Yeah, SPA is very important to me. SPA was born out of conviction to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I have grown witnessing women suffer in silence, and that woman is me. I am a survivor of gender-based violence.
Mm-hmm.
I have faced death twice, being financially, emotionally, sexually abused, and turning my pain into a purpose is what is important to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I founded SPA, to make a difference, to support women through partnership with organizations like NGOs.
What's the NGO?
The non-organization.
So it's non-governmental organization.
Yeah. So I founded SPA so that so our core business or what we want to focus on is strategic advocating for policies changes in Africa and in Kenya, where I come from.
Mm-hmm.
We want to create awareness through storytelling, bring in stories from Africa and Kenya, where I come from, to impact, to inspire other women and to showcase what is happening in our country. Where is our system failing us? Also, we want to bring in stories from women. I've interacted with women here in Canada.
Okay.
And
From your country?
not from my country.
From here?
Yeah, from here, but they are immigrants who
Okay.
have gone through similar experience. And also, we're gonna do fundraising, where SPA Diaspora is gonna raise funds through sponsorship, grants, and
So that's good. So have you identified potential funding sources or?
yes, here in Canada we have different organizations that are supporting women. So we'll be partnering with them. They're non-profit organizations supporting women. So we're gonna be partnering with them. We have activists already. I've met with them. I've networked with them. They're ready to help us, partner with us, and help us put the word out there. We have social media's campaigners, like I call them the digital marketers campaigns.
Social influencers.
The influencers. So we're going to partner with them so that they can be able to bring an impact or showcase the story of women out there, bringing awareness to the world.
So just in terms of because we've had conversations and I've done research to try to better understand why this is happening, and it's obviously misogynistic in terms of the the culture, very chauvinistic. Um, Even if a police report is made, they don't take it serious. It's like, go home and figure it out. Y'all can work out the problem. That type of response. It's sad. I mean, it's terrible, actually. So as much as you want the women to, it's good to hear the stories, but the policy changes, as you just mentioned, will have to come from higher up. So it really impacts men, so they understand the consequences, right? If you abuse women, there has to be consequences, and at this point, there aren't really true consequences, and I think that's the problem.
Yeah, so if we don't voice out this, we're giving power to the perpetrators. That's why we have to voice it out. We have very good policies in Africa, but implementation is zero.
Right.
There's corruption, and that's why we're here to press on, to drive, to bring policy changes.
Go ahead. That's okay.
That's why we are pressing on to bring policy changes through our organization.
Right.
Changes that are going to protect women.
Right. Okay. So we have an administration now in the United States, unfortunately, that may not be as sensitive to the causes as we would like for him to be, or them to be. So the fact that you're in Canada gives you probably a better launching point than America right now, because you may have a prime minister that's really going to be behind you with this effort. Now, what is your status here in terms of the country? Are you, I know you've been here for over a year now.
Yeah, I'm a claimant here in.
You're what?
I'm a refugee claimant here in Canada.
A refugee claimant.
Yes,
Okay.
and the reason I came here is because Canada values human rights, and it's safe here, and also they value equality.
Okay.
So being in this country has given me the voice to talk, tell my story. Because if I did this when I was back in Kenya, I would not have safety, no protection. So being in Canada gives me a more advantage to voice out and be the voice of women out there, and to be the voice of the voiceless.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So you left Kenya to come to America, asylum. You sought asylum. You was granted a temporary asylum. So when does it become permanent?
That I can't promise. I don't know until.
Well, so it may not become permanent. Gotcha. So they have to. Your case has to be presented, and then. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
So that one, the system here, we have to go through the system here. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you do when you were in Kenya? What was your profession there?
So I have a background in economics. I have a bachelor's in economics, which I did it in Shivaji University in India. Postgraduate diploma also in India. I've done some trainings in finance here in Canada, basic counseling and practical project management. In Kenya, I was a leader, and I had my own retail stores where I specialize in supply of undergarments across Kenya. I was also a property consultant with one of the biggest real estate firms in Kenya and sub-Saharan Africa. I am a mother, sole mother, and an advocate and a woman.
How many children do you have?
I have two handsome boys, 14 years old, Jiguna Mwangi, and 6-year-old Karanja Mwangi. And I am an advocate. Started here, and a woman who believes that out of pain, something good can be gotten.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How do you like North America so far?
I love it. I have peace of mind. I can be able now to think how I can make a difference. You remember when we met, I told you I want to make a difference.
I remember that.
Starting SPA has been a healing journey to me. And it is so meaningful to me that it was a conviction, not out of comfort, but out of conviction. That's why I started SPA. So being here and being able to speak out, tell my story to the world so that I can inspire, I can impact, and bring change, I just feel amazing. I feel at peace. I can think. Other than being home where I had threats, I was not safe. And up to date, I'm still afraid of my kids because I know their safety is not guaranteed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So in our next segment, we're going to interview your good friend, Honorable Charlene.
Honorable Charlene now. Minor.
Okay, so we're looking forward to that. But we thank you for joining us for this episode, and keep up the good work. We're looking to hear more about SPA in the years to come.
Thank you.
In our next segment, Wambui Chege, community activist in Kenya. We'll be right back.
What?
We'd like to welcome Wambui Chege to our show. She's coming to us from Kenya. She's going to give us some insight on the ground, things that are occurring in her country as it relates to domestic violence. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be in this show today.
Now, we had a very, very robust conversation the other day, and you gave me some insight in terms of some of the things that you're working on and some of the things that you're aware of. I thought it was very, very helpful and will be very helpful to our listening audience and watching viewership to get a better understanding of what's happening. We have Martha's insight and her testimony part of this program, but you're doing things in Kenya right now. And we'd like to get some sense of what that is. Please share.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be part of this conversation today and also the opportunity to share what is happening in Kenya. Happy to work in this program as an GBV survivor, but most importantly, the work that we are doing with the community.
Sorry for interrupting, but a lot of people are not familiar with that acronym, GBV. Right? And I've become aware of it. Please share.
The acronym stands for Sexual and Gender-Based Violence.
Right.
And sexual and gender-based violence takes different forms. It talks about physical violence. It talks about female genital mutilation, and it also talks about sexual violence. So it's just one word that covers various components. So for the last 4 years, I have been working with an organization where we have been doing a lot of awareness creation on SGBV, sexual gender-based violence, in terms of creating demand for the services and also ensuring that there is prevention and reduced cases and perpetration towards gender-based violence. Working in very hard to reach areas in Samburu, Bungoma. These are very remote areas in northern and western Kenya. So basically, we have been working with vulnerable communities. These are widows, women, children, men, people with disabilities who have been victims to gender-based violence. And this program encompasses the perpetrators of this. It's and focuses on strengthening the structure so that people can be able to come out and speak out and say what exactly has been, how they have been affected. We're also looking at conversion of people, the ex-convicts, the male who are in most cases are considered to be the perpetrators. Now having these people as champions and people who are on the front line to speak about.
That's amazing. You know, we showcase people on our program that are doing above and beyond, and I think it's highly commendable, uh, the work that you're doing. But a lot of it, I've come to learn, and since we spoke, the cultural impact on men in your in your country, it lends to, unfortunately, what a lot of what goes on, right? Generations of, and I think one of the things that came to mind is the fact that polygamy is a legal part of your culture, right? So how does that contribute, or does it contribute to what happened, to some of the violence, some of the, I'm not going to say violence right now, but certainly neglect? Is there any connection with that?
Yes, yes, there is. I don't know, would you believe it that one in every three Kenyans, especially women, undergo gender-based violence before the age of 18. Most of the people who perpetrate this are the men. Now, what are some of the influences towards gender-based violence? Cultural practices, like what you've mentioned, polygamy, in terms of sometimes you need to have gone through these practices for you to qualify to be a proper woman fit for marriage. So for polygamy, you cannot be married if you have not gone through the cultural practices. The high illiteracy level, people are illiterate, and of course now these couples sit up with poverty and the need for economic growth. So all that, those cultural practices actually really, really influence how gender-based violence is perpetrated in Kenya environments.
Okay, so there are laws in place, and we had talked about that in the previous section, but they're not being enforced, right? There are laws in place to protect women, and claims are made, files are charged, charges are filed, but are virtually ignored, right? How do
Yes,
we how do that's a major part of what has, we have to have greater accountability. There should be greater accountability. There should be consequences for men who engage in violence toward women, but it seems like it's ignored. And that's the problem I have. And it's got to be a way where that can be reversed. What kind of pressure can we use in terms of Western civilizations, Western cultures, to help to influence what's happening there?
yeah, I wouldn't say that they are being ignored per se, but one of the things that we do within our program is to strengthen the policy frameworks, the policy and the legal frameworks, and also to capacity build the duty bearers. The duty bearers are the police, the law enforcers, the community champions, and all that. So yes, there has been a lot of laws that are put in place. But now the challenge comes with the enforcement of these laws.
Right.
Now, when we talk about enforcement, let's talk about somebody going to report a case in police stations and the requirements that are required. For instance, when you go to report some of the tools that we have, you're required to register a P3 form. So these P3 forms are only free for sexual violence. When you come to other forms of GBV, you have to buy. High poverty levels, the victim is not able to buy that. Stigmatization, you're not even able to go and report this. Awareness, even within the subsystem that are supporting this. So yes, there is a big gap towards enforcing. Then the existence of kangaroo courts, where people just agree, oh, this is my brother, can we solve this off the court systems or the policy frameworks? And all that affects the reporting and the utilization of the frameworks that have been put in place to support the gender-based violence. So yes, there's quite a gap in creating awareness and bringing together this. And what we do basically, we bring all these people together through sports, where you now have the police and the victims playing together, the perpetrators. So that way we create an environment where now they can be familiar to each other and it does not feel off going to report this. Just like I say, there's a big gap and a lot that needs to be done on enforcement and accountability, especially when it comes to our duty bearers.
So you bring the men together. They're the ones that are the perpetrators, right? So within that group of men, they come together with law enforcement, but law enforcement is part and parcel of the problem that exists, right? So they come together, they play. What is happening that would change the dynamic? What is happening within that interaction? Are they having conversations? Are they men talking to men about things that they need to change? What's happening? I understand the games are being played, but what is the result? What exactly is happening? I'm still not clear on that.
Oh, now one of the best and the winning approaches that we have used towards prevention and awareness of gender-based violence is a community-led approach. And in this community-led approach, we usually have intergenerational dialogues where men will be there to speak and talk about issues of GBV and what is happening. We use something called value-based, principle-based leadership. In that approach, we now use the men within the community, especially those ones that have been the main perpetrators, probably like I mentioned, the ex-convicts, the reformed cutters, those people who perform the practice. And when we take all these people together, we have dialogues with them. And in these dialogues, probably we also allow and discuss issues on positive parenting. And men discuss how are we going to protect our children and raise them right to ensure that they are protected from GBV. For the ex-convicts, how do they come together? We pair them with, let's say, for instance, we will pair them with people who are positive who have positive values, like you pair a reformed cutter with a nurse. And they integrate these values. From that, by the way, we have seen an impact. And number one, we have seen communities and families being reunited.
Thank you so much. That's so positive. And I'm so thankful that you were able to join us. Look forward to connecting with you in the near future.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm also looking forward to engage with you next as we talk about the progress that we are making in this field.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Ignite, Empower, Transform. I was your host, Hosea James Gavan II. And remember, if it's in your heart, do your part. Today's help equals tomorrow's hope. I love our youth. Power to the people.